Welcome to the Wingman Show. My name is Drew Brown, and my wingman, my man, the number one guy I know, Dr. Paul Thompson. What's up, brother? Welcome to the Wingman Show, where we're floating like butterflies and stinging like bees. Rumble, you two badass jet pilots, rumble. Welcome to the Wingman Show. My name is Commander Drew Brown. That other badass jet pilot, my man, my friend, Dr. Paul Thompson. What's up, my brother?
Well, Commander Drew, it's good to see you this morning. I like your background with the sunset there. It's a very beautiful picture. Anything with a bunch of airplanes is something that I like to see.
Yeah, yours looks really good too. I have a civilian jet. I don't think I've ever had a civilian jet, and I haven't never flown a civilian jet, but that sunset is beautiful. All right, let's start this off with a quote like we always do. And it says, you can beat 40 scholars with one fact, but you can't beat one idiot with 40 facts. That's by Rumi. Once again, you can beat 40 scholars with one fact, and yet you can't beat one idiot with 40 facts. How true is that, Dr. Paul?
That's very true, because I think you're talking about those who think and those who think they know. I read somewhere, I don't know who Rumi was, but intelligent people are filled with self-doubt, and ignorant people are filled with overconfidence. All right,
Wow, that's very good. Yeah, because I love to learn and I don't mind being wrong. And I say I'm wrong in a heartbeat, because every time you're wrong, you get better. You learn something.
Yeah. You have a chance to learn and get better. And I tell other people, even my children, even when they were doing very, very well, don't try to know everything. You end up shutting people off. You don't need to really be the smartest person in the room. That's a good aspiration. Nothing wrong with that at all. But don't shut people down because of information you may really need that you've just cut yourself off from a bad attitude or some other problem. And there are other people who gladly watch you, march off a cliff because you know so much.
Well, you're 100% right there, Paul, because it's not wrong being the smartest person in the room. It's wrong telling people and showing people that you're the smartest person in the room. I think that's the problem. Well, let's start off with some good news here, because, if it's good news, if it's good, it should lead. So we lead off with good news. How about this? A 14-year-old young scientist discovers a pesticide detector for produce. Amazing. 14 years old in ninth grade, Sirish Subash is from Snellville, Georgia, and he goes to Gwinnett School of Math, Science, and Technology. Well, he invented this. He won $25,000 from the Young Scientist Challenge. And Dr. Paul and myself, we push STEM. We push STEM for kids, and STEM means science, technology, engineering, and math. Talk to me about this kid, Paul.
Yeah, I think that's fantastic. He's in Snellville. Gee, there's a medical professional I see in Snellville. It's not that far from me, actually. That's really impressive. And he beat out a lot of people across the nation. It's that 3M competition. We talked about it before. He got 25 grand. Only thing about the competition, I think, is off. They take 10 winners, and the first place person gets 25 grand. And the next 5 groups, they get like $1,000, and the last 5 get $500 in a gift card, which I think you could do a little better than that. We need to send them some money. I think if you get second place, make it 15 grand, third place, 10 grand, not $1,000. You can do better than that, 3M. And you know you can. But that's fantastic. And I looked at the other, the people that won those top 10, and they're from all over the country. That's a great thing. And the average aging, and they put their age is their grade level, most are in the 8th and 9th grade. So there's futures bright for people who are willing to work, willing to study. You're not going to see these folks on TV. And those who are looking at this program, if you didn't hear us mention it, you wouldn't know anything about it. And if we didn't have to dig so hard, we wouldn't either. Is
That's what
that
I was going to say. There are very good people out there. There are, the colleges are full. There are good people. They just don't have a voice. And that's what Dr. Paul and I are trying to do, give good news a voice. How about this for our city of New York? You know, we love New York. We both come from New York. New York City has just become the largest marathon in the world. Berlin was first, and they had 54,280 people. Well, we just beat them in New York with 55,646 runners. And believe it or not, this had the largest number of women finishers, 24,741. How about that race? Have you ever thought about running a marathon, Dr. Paul?
no, I've run like maybe a 10th marathon. I never did that. 26.2 miles. And New York City Marathon started in like 1970. And I think the very first one, they had like 125 people. Now,
Wow.
125 people finished. I don't know how many finished. 125 started. But I think in the finish line, this one, it was like over 55,000. They start Staten Island. I guess you got to go across the Verrazano Narrows Bridge. Either that or swim. So go across the bridge and they hit all five boroughs, hit Queens, hit Long Island City, and even East Harlem, and end up in Central Park. They also raise, they raise money.
Oh,
People run.
yeah, they raise a lot of money, the New York City Marathon. And
Yeah,
just
like
think about Paul, think about the entrance fees for 55,646 people.
yeah, yeah. They pay $10 a piece, $20 a piece.
Is that all it is?
Well, I don't know. I don't know what it is. Let's look that up.
Oh, we'll find that out and maybe tell the audience next show. But I'm sure I don't think it's $10. I don't know anything that's $10 anymore, Paul.
That's true.
All right, how about some more good news? With Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese leading the WNBA and the girls basketball is just exploding. Well, the WNBA just added another team, and it's the first team out of the country. It's in Toronto, Canada, and it's called the Toronto Tempo. And I didn't know this, Paul. Did you know basketball was invented by a Canadian?
Yes, Dr. James Naismith. He's from Ontario. I think he was in Ottawa. I think he's from Ontario. I know he spent some time in Ottawa. And you know why he developed? He developed it in Massachusetts. He was a teacher in Massachusetts, and he wanted an indoor game that the kids could play when it was cold out. So he did start with two peach baskets. I think it was like 9 players on a team, and the rest is history. But basically, it was to give kids something to do physical. Again, we're into the physical stuff, to give them some physical exercise during the harsh winters in New England.
Wow. Well, it's really basketball's come a long way, I'll tell you that. And I have to slip this in. I'm sorry, our New York Knicks are a good basketball team this year for the first time in a long time. And how about this? The U.S. Navy, who Dr. Paul and I are part of and we love, the U.S. Navy has just commissioned the first attack submarine that is built for females, for the integration of female sailors, which is incredible. And they actually say that fully integrated crews actually perform 20% better. This submarine, it's called the Jersey Girl, the USS Jersey Girl. It has 135 crew, and 40 of them are women. Now, Dr. P, when both you and I were in the Navy, we didn't have any women with us. Do you think it would have hurt us on the carrier?
No. Well, I'd say they put some on the Lexington. As I mean, for a while, maybe that was a trial. I remember seeing some at one point when I was qualifying A7s, which I thought was really interesting. There were a few, but I think women have been on submarines for more than 10 years. But you said you're right. This one, was made for them. And for people that know, it's not to get morbid here, but the role of submarines can do a lot of stuff. They're part of the nuclear triad, the U.S. nuclear triad. So if there is an attack on this country, there's a guaranteed retaliation because you got three. You got land-based missiles based out of the intercontinental missiles based out of the northern part of the country. You got air-launched missiles from airplanes, and you got the submarines. under the oceans, and they can be anywhere, and they're hard to detect. That's the
Uh, uh,
biggest defense project cost wise is actually development of new submarines.
Wow. They're expensive too. I'll tell you this, God forbid there ever is a war. The people guaranteed to be alive after it are the people in submarines.
Very much.
How about that one? All right. The name of our show this week is How to Extend Your Life by 2 Years. Drink more coffee. Well, we just found out that coffee can actually add up to 2 years to your life. That's because it has polyphenols. They're antioxidants, they're anti inflammatories, and they actually help the internal wear and tear on your body. They're very good for your muscles, they're very good for your mental state, and they're really good for your heart. And it's the number one killer is heart disease and stroke. And now they found out that coffee can help with that. But here's the problem, Dr. Paul. You don't drink coffee. Me, I drink plenty of coffee, so I'm good on this. I'll probably add 4 to 10 years with all the coffee that I drink. I drink good, strong coffee. But
Yeah.
Dr. Paul, what are you going to do if you don't drink coffee? Can you still get these same benefits?
Well, you can get some of the benefits by, I know one of the ones I looked at is eating dark chocolate. Now I will do that. And in fact, I've got a doctor's appointment coming up. I'll run that by him. Everybody else I know drinks coffee as I think about it. But yeah, you can do a dark chocolate is a good substitute. That's my favorite go-to. I started doing that, maybe 7 months ago.
Well, they say that drinking coffee, the caffeine, they think that that's bad for you. Well, they found out it's really not that bad for you. And, also, Paul, you can drink green tea, they say. So
Okay.
that's good. And actually, we are right now sponsored by Magic Mind, and they help with all these problems also. And the one thing that they really promote is focus. And my focus has gotten better ever since I started drinking this Magic Mind that was sponsored by. You can get Magic Mind by going to magicmind.co. That's magicmind.co. And they will give you 40% off if you get a subscription. If you just like to try it for a little while, then all you have to do is put in the code Wingman20. That's Wingman20, and you'll get 20% off. Did you take your Magic Mind this morning?
I did. I did it. I did one yesterday too, and I got about 3 other things done that I've been thinking about for a while, and all of a sudden they were just completed. Say, I'll do it tomorrow. No, let's do it now. Why do tomorrow what you can do today? And that's my biggest benefit of the thing. And maybe it's got a lot of green stuff. It's got a little green tea extracts in it too. And I do green tea for the coffee benefits. I do that.
Good. Well, we have a newsletter, and the newsletter fits right along with that. And the newsletter this week is how to get the health benefits of coffee without drinking coffee. And all you have to do to get that newsletter is go to wingmanshow.com. That's wingmanshow.com, and you can get a newsletter every week. You can also write us on that frequent flow line, and I'll have a letter for us that somebody wrote us in a little while. But I first want to thank everybody so much for watching us on YouTube, for listening to us on Apple Podcasts, watching us on TikTok and Instagram. Thank you so much. Thank you for subscribing to us. We really do appreciate it. And if you look at some badass jets there behind Dr. Paul, you'll see the Blue Angels, who Dr. Paul loves. I have a civilian jet, which, like I said in the beginning, I never flew. I don't know if, Paul, have you ever flown a civilian jet?
Well, yeah, you did fly a civilian jet. You flew jet for FedEx.
Oh,
People know that. They're gonna get mad at you and say, I thought you were an employee. Yeah, you flew multiple times. I flew for 35 years. Now,
right.
a private jet that somebody owned, no, I don't know any.
That's what I meant.
I do know 2 people that have private jets, but I've not flown them.
Well, how about this? Remember, I told you about that frequent flow line, and you get the frequent flow line at wingmanshow.com. So we got a letter this week. Very interesting. A woman, 52 years old, from Biloxi, Mississippi. She states, "This election didn't go as I expected. I am worried about the future. What do you guys do when things don't turn out like you want? Y'all are great role models. Thank you. Well, thank you for that letter. Dr. Paul, you want to start this one off?
Yeah, the election didn't go. I assume it's the presidential election he's talking about. Realize what the word election means. It's actually Latin root, but it actually means choice. Choice, and people made a choice, and that's the way it's going. I would say there's another word you should look at, not just election, but the word resilience. And the word resilience really kind of means rebound, like Charles Barkley or somebody. It means rebound. If things don't go the way you want, well, that's the way it goes. See what you can do better next time. I look at it, personally, if there's something I need to change, I need to change. Don't just get stuck in the mud. But in terms of having control of your life, you shouldn't let external things like that or other things just control your life, how you feel about yourself and feel about the world. That's why we bring good news. There's good stuff. If you look at the 24-hour news cycle that goes, it's a rehash of the same thing. Who killed this? Who did this? Why they do it? Why should they do it? It's always on the focus on the negative, and you can do that with elections. But you got to live your life, because those who are elected or whatever, they're probably not worrying about you too much. You take care of yourself. They probably aren't. They probably aren't. That's just reality. I mean, they may act like that at a campaign stop, but they're not. They're not. When's the last time any of them invited you to dinner, for example, or to their home? Let's get a little. Let's get kind of realistic, particularly for an adult. Get on with life, provide for yourself, provide for your family, provide for the future, because the future is coming, whether you like it or not. My
That's
opinion.
very good advice, Dr. Paul. Thank you so much. I love the letter. And when things don't work out like I like, I will tell you this. I believe in a power greater than myself. I believe in God, and I believe God doesn't make mistakes. That's number one. So when things don't work out like I like, I believe there's a reason for it. And that helps me a lot. But if we're talking about elections, if you really look at it, first of all, it's only 4 years or 2 years. First of all, your life doesn't change no matter who's elected. Your life only changes when you do something. So, no matter who's the president, no matter who is the mayor or whatever, I have to be concerned with what I can do. I have to be, it's like the serenity prayer. God grant me the serenity to accept things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And the wisdom is, to me, Paul, you can only change yourself. And that's the best person to work on. And
Yeah.
that will bring me to a Wingman PSA from the 11 Facts in Life. Under fact number 4, have purpose. Under fact number 4, have purpose. Paul Thompson, I will tell you this. I think that's one of the biggest facts in the 11 Facts in Life, because when you have a purpose, you have a reason to get up. I believe that if a kid found out what he wanted to do early in life, he would do well in school because he would want to accomplish that goal. It's like LeBron James found out he likes basketball and he loves it. Well, he worked at it to be that good. Have purpose. Dr. Paul and I are very lucky because nobody likes to work unless your work is something that you love to do. And Dr. Paul and I, we flew all over the world. We flew jets off aircraft carriers, and we flew 777s all over the world. And it really wasn't that much work. You know, Paul and I
Yeah.
once went to France with our friend Keith Miller. The three of us took a 777 to Paris for a weekend and stayed at a high luxury hotel and had a great time. That's not really that much work. Paul, what do you think about having purpose?
Yeah, have purpose. Basically, purpose gives you internal motivation. And that's what we need to develop people, young people, old people, everybody. Gives you a reason to get up. Going back to the frequent flow line thing. You see people, you know, uh, say your favorite team is in a championship or a game or whatever, and they lose a game, and maybe you're disappointed and could have won. Like you said, does that really change your life that much? No matter who wins the Super Bowl or the World Cup or whatever, how much is it going to change you? Again, like the politicians, the athletes are not calling you. They're not asking you for advice. Life goes on. Go on with your life. Don't turn over cars or get depressed or burn anything. Just go on with life. Enjoy the entertainment because there's more entertainment. Don't get too crazy with the stuff.
Good answer. will have purpose. Please remember that. Once again, we are sponsored by Magic Mind, and one of the ingredients they have in there is ashwagandha. And ashwagandha eases pain and inflammation, it treats insomnia, and it boosts nutritional value inside your body. So ashwagandha is in Magic Mind, and if you want to get Magic Mind, all you have to do is go to magicmind.co. That's magicmind.co. They'll give you 40% off if you get a subscription, or we can give you 20% off if you just want to try it by putting in Wingman 20. All you have to do is put in the code Wingman 20. All right, let's get to the gouge here, Dr. Paul. And the gouge is shit you need to know that sometimes people don't tell you. I want you to take this one. It says that 5 minutes of exercise can reduce blood pressure. Just 5 minutes can reduce blood pressure. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, again, it's movement. That's very encouraging to me. I just saw that study because my warm up it goes about 10 minutes actually. So do I quit at the warm up? No, but yeah, you don't need very much, and everything counts as exercise. Just even if you're walking up and down stairs, doing things, pedestrian things, that all counts. That's excellent exercise. The thing is to get your body moving, because if you're hospitalized for a long time, and I had that experience one time, your body starts to deteriorate. Mine sure did, just after with 2 or 3 weeks. And that's why we need to keep moving all the time, for your blood pressure. And again, from that blood pressure is an indicator of so many things. And movement was one of the easiest ways to help control it, along with a decent diet. So don't, run up and down the stairs and eat 10 cheeseburgers and, wonder why your blood results are off. But move, do something that you like to do, and be aggressive with it now and then.
That's good advice. And, Paul, you can also park your car further away from the store than you need to, so you can get a little walk in. You can also, when you see an escalator and stairs, go ahead and take the stairs.
Yeah.
It's the little bit of exercise all the time that really keeps that body moving. And that's our favorite word, move. Dr. Paul taught me that. Keep that body moving. All right. Well, we always say how important college is, because education is a key factor in you becoming successful. Well, USA Today gave us 5 jobs that you don't need a college education for. So Paul and I are going to tell you these 5 jobs, but it's kind of funny. The first one is an elevator and escalator installation and repairman or woman, and they pay about $102,000 a year, but it's a 4-year apprenticeship program. You could have spent 4 years in college and done anything, but if you want to do this, it takes a long time to learn this skill, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's it's a skilled occupation. That elevators are very, very complicated, whether they are 100 stories or 2 stories. There's a lot to them, and you need specialized training. Again, the world is more complicated. You don't really not need a lot of people to pick this up and move that there. Think of our two favorite places I like to go: Costco and Home Depot. I've not seen a lot of people struggling to stock the shelves. If anything, they need maybe 2 people or 3 people, and one is making sure no one gets run over by the machine that they're using to restock the shelves. That's just reality. So you've really got to be trained in something and have something in your head. You have to be willing to study. Even if you don't go to college, even if you just do the elevator thing, for example, take that as an example, there's a fair amount of mechanical and electrical engineering that are parts of that you're going to have to know.
That's why it's a 4-year apprenticeship program.
That's right.
All right, maybe you want to be a subway or streetcar operator. They say that pays about $84,000 a year, and that's a year apprenticeship. And I'll tell you this, we are getting to the point where robotics will be taking over a lot of jobs. So if you really are interested in changing careers or doing something that the future is going to hold, think about robotics. Think about working with, like Paul said, mechanical engineering and technology. But subway and streetcar operator, do you want to be a streetcar operator, Paul?
Yeah, well, I'm thinking it's subway outside of New York City. How many subways are there? I think
Not many. I guess
the
trolley cars.
baby one in DC. I think there's one in Chicago. I've never been on.
Well, I also think it's just rail. I think it's
Maybe
trains
light
also.
rail. Okay,
Yeah.
light rail. Okay, all right.
Yes. All right. How about this job? A costume attendant. Now, I guess you got to live near Broadway, but they say they make about $53,000 a year. And if you really like style and clothing, maybe you can get to one of these playhouses, go in and say, hey, I'm interested in being a costume designer or a costume attendant. What about that?
Sure. Uh, Never heard about that before. Never really gave it much thought. Uh, I think I'd be more likely to try out for the Blue Angel kind of thing.
Yes. Well, this is US Today's list. This is not
Okay.
ours. All right. Forest fire inspectors and prevention specialists. And they say they can make up to $72,000 a year. And if you watch the news, there are a lot of forest fires going on here. The weather is getting hotter and drier sometimes, and there's no rain for a long time. So, forest fires have become really, really hazardous and really, really big lately. And they seem to be going up everywhere, Paul.
Yeah, have you noticed it was just a couple of years ago or 3 years ago, there was a huge one in Canada that drifted all across the US down in New York City. And for a while, a few days, the air quality in New York City was worse than it was in Delhi, India, which was pretty bad.
You remember flying into India and you could smell it on
Yes.
approach when you
Yes.
started getting close to the ground in the cockpit?
Yeah. As the outflow valve started to open up and you get some of the local air, you could smell it. Wasn't bad, but you knew you were there.
That's right. The last one is airline operations specialist. And you can make about $52,000 a year. And that's where you could go to FedEx maybe and start working with them.
Mhm. That would interest me more, you know, at least as a way to start off to try to get a flying job. But that's useful because you're going into some kind of technology there.
Well, the name of our show is The Wingman Show. And the reason it's called The Wingman Show is because we believe in helping others. And your wingman always looks after you and checks your six. That means he's looking from behind you, see what's coming up behind you to protect you. I have a good wingman for you today. A young man named Bailey Griffin Clark from Lincolnshire, England. When he was 14 years old, he actually was overweight and had to take a year off of school. But he found something that corrected it. And that thing was called boxing. So believe it or not, he started boxing. I love this. He has taken that skill now and he goes to senior citizens' homes all over Lincolnshire and he wants to expand it throughout the country. And he teaches boxing to seniors in senior citizens' living homes. I think that's wonderful. They all get to put on these funky neon pink, yellow, and green gloves. He's got 700,000 TikTok views. But what I love is, I come from a boxing family. Dad was Bundini Brown, trained Sugar Ray and Muhammad Ali. So I know how much fun boxing is. Matter of fact, I got in the ring with Ali once. I punched him in the face and he looked at me like, I didn't know you really wanted to box. And I got scared. He wasn't going to hurt me, but I could see that he was master of that ring. The fun part is what I was trying to say is hitting something is more fun than getting hit. So these elderly people put on these gloves and he shows them how to punch and throw jabs. And I just think that is just wonderful. The name of his company is called Be Great Fitness. I know you like this one, Paul. What a great wingman.
Yeah, that's he is a great wingman. And I'm glad he hit Muhammad Ali in the face and lived to tell about it. Obviously, it didn't have any Joe Frazier flashback. My-
No, no. I'll tell you exactly what happened. So I got in the ring with him. I put my gloves on. I was 16 years old. I was 6'5". He's like 6 foot 3. So I'm a little bit taller than him. So we just started dancing around and fooling around. And I threw a jab and hit him right in his face. He didn't get mad, but he looked at me in such a way that he said, oh, I didn't know you really wanted to box. Let's do some of this. And all of a sudden, I was like fooling around because I didn't want to box him. He looked like he was master of that ring. Well, everybody out there who can hear my voice, I want to thank you so much Thank you so much for listening to us and subscribing to us. And I want to let you know anything that you think is important and anything that you think is beautiful, and especially anything that makes you happy, may you have that today and forever. I pray for peace.
I pray for peace too, Mr. Drew. And we appreciate all those who listen, like, and share the message. Pass this on to someone else that you know or acquainted with in some ways. If you're looking at YouTube, please give us a like. Consider subscribing. Most of you are not subscribers. Subscribe, hit the notification icon. That way you'll get an alert every time we put out something new. Take care of yourself.
Thank you once again, Dr. Paul Thompson, my friend. Thank you for your love, your time, and that's something that we won't ever get back. I want to thank all the listeners, too. Thank you so much for doing the show, Dr. Paul. We're jamming.
Well, thank you, Mr. Drew, for inviting me on. Always good to talk to you. And ladies and gentlemen, please remember to like, share, and subscribe to this podcast or any of the podcasts. If you're looking at YouTube, they say smash the like button. Don't smash it. Just press it gently and refer to use as a link to all your friends. You can also look at us on our website, wingmenshow.com, WINGMEN show, SHOW.com, altogether, wingmenshow.com. And we hope to see you in the future. Thanks again, Mr. Drew.
Oh, you're welcome. And we're still floating like butterflies and stinging like bees. Rumble, you badass jet pilots, rumble. May there be peace on earth, and goodwill towards all men and women.